Hey guys, so today I'm going to be reviewing PetSmart's hamster care guide, and on the front it says getting to know your Syrian and dwarf hamster. Also there's a cute hamster on it. So let's get started. Alright, so on the front page it already looks bad. What is this? Someone please tell me what this is, because that's not a hamster cage. But on the top it says energetic and athletic hamsters. Their fur-lined pouches that extend from their head to their shoulders help them transport food. So it's already telling a lie, because it says their cheek pouches extend from their head to their shoulders, but actually they can go a lot farther to their hips. And then it says experience level beginner. So I actually wouldn't recommend hamsters to a beginner pet owner because they cost a lot of money and they need very strict caring. Size, dwarf hamsters grow up to 3 to 4 inches. Syrian hamsters grow up to 5 to 7. Okay. Lifespan on average, they live for 2 years. So I wouldn't say 2 years because most hamsters live 1 to 2 years. So if they live to 2 years, then that's great, but don't be surprised if they live for less than 2 years. Oh, Martian. Come here, buddy. Anyways, behavior, hamsters are nocturnal and love running on their hamster wheels at night. Okay. Diet, hamsters are omnivores. Yup. Social, while Syrian hamsters are sociable with humans, they are solitary animals and should live alone. Most dwarf hamsters, however, are social animals and can be housed with another of the same gender. So, actually, no hamsters should be housed together, otherwise they will fight and kill each other. Even if they are dwarfs, still, please keep them in separate cages. The only reason that hamsters should be together if they are hamster babies and they were just born, but once they get to be 3 to 4 weeks old, they should be separated. And then the next section is this thingy. It says a hamster habitat. That's not a hamster habitat. I think it's a hamster prison cell. Oh. Guys, please don't get a cage that's this small. Please. Because it's terrible. It's like if you were living in your bedroom for your entire life and no other rooms in your house, just your bedroom. It's a very small space to live in, and that's the same with hamsters. But anyways, on the bottom it has these little letters that you can match to the diagram. So the first one is A, of course, and it says habitat, but not really a habitat. B says water bottle. So yeah, you could use a water bottle or a hamster bowl. I recommend hamster bowls though, because water bottles can get stuck and then your hamster will be left with no water. And water bowls also encourage you to clean them out more. So yeah. Letter C says hide. So I'm not sure what this is. It's like a little box thingy, but I don't think that a Syrian hamster would fit in there. Maybe you could use it for a dwarf, but just make sure that your hamster hideout is big enough, and you should have multiple hideouts in case if they want to move. Letter D says small pet bedding. So this gray stuff on the bottom is supposed to be the bedding, but it's not high enough because hamster bedding should be at least 6 inches higher or more. This looks about 1 inch. But also this cage does not help with that, because if you made it 6 inches, it would go up to here, and then all the bedding would go out of the wires. So that's another reason why this cage just does not work. Next, letter E says food dish. It's right here. And you can have a food dish, but it's nicer for your hamster if you just take a spoon and scatter the food all around the cage, because then they can scrounge for it themselves and it gives them something to do. F says transport tube. So I don't know where this tube is going because they just cut it off, but make sure that your hamster tubes are big enough for your hamster, because otherwise they can get stuck in it and that's not very nice. And then letter G says exercise wheel. So on the diagram, there's a golden or Syrian hamster, and this is the wheel that it's supposed to run on every night. But the wheel looks a little small, and when you have it too small of a wheel, your hamster's back curves like this, and then it can get like very sick from that and sad. So just make sure that your hamster wheel is big enough and safe. Okay, so then the next section says, how do I set up a hamster habitat? Place the habitat in a low humidity area that's cool. Temperature should be between 65 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit and out of direct sunlight. Line the habitat with an appropriate amount of clean bedding. The bedding should be spot cleaned as needed and changed as directed by product packaging. So first of all, it says line the habitat with an appropriate amount of bedding, but then on the diagram there's only a tiny bit of bedding, which just does not make sense, because right here it says to add more bedding, and right here there's basically no bedding. And it should be spot cleaned as directed on the packaging. So you don't have to spot clean it where it says on the packaging, because the simple time you only need to spot clean it is once a month if you have a proper sized cage. Add in transport tubes and an exercise wheel for play and exercise. So you don't need tubes. As long as you have other toys, they'll be fine, but you do need an exercise wheel, because those are very important. Otherwise, your hamster won't have exercise and it won't grow properly. Hide houses will provide your hamster with a private spot. Edible nests will encourage your pet to chew and should be cleaned regularly. So yeah, you do need a few hide houses in your enclosure, but I'm not sure what an edible nest is. If you do get an edible nest, just make sure that it's safe. But your hamster will make their own nest out of bedding too, so don't be sad if they don't use your edible nest. Okay, next it says, what should I feed my hamster? It says 80% pelleted food. This is your hamster's everyday main course. Refresh daily and always keep the bowl 3/4 full. So just make sure that your pelleted food is also mixed with like fine seeds and other things, and not just pellets. 15% vegetables. Fresh vegetables served daily. No, make sure to remove uneaten vegetables after a few hours. 5% fruit and treats. Offer treats and fruits like oranges and blueberries twice a week. Note, be sure to remove fruit after a few hours. And then water, a water bottle or bowl of fresh, clean water every day. And then it has a bunch of points that says, when should I contact a veterinarian? And I'm not going to read all of those, but I'll leave them on the screen for you. And then the last page, which is on the back, says shopping checklist. And it says, for the first thing, dwarf hamster, habitat size 12 by 12 by 12 inches or larger. But then it also says a different measurement for a Syrian hamster. So I know that Germany and North America have two different measurements of floor space. Germany is 755 square inches of floor space, and in North America it's 450. So it doesn't matter what kind of hamster you have, just as long as they have at least 450 square inches of floor space in their cage, and it's tall enough for their wheel, then you should be fine. Then it says pelleted hamster food. Like I said, make sure that it's a variety of food and not just pellets. A food dish. You don't need a food dish because you can just scatter feed your hamster. So you could save money by not buying a food dish, but you can if you want. Water bottle or water bowl. Bedding. Make sure that your bedding isn't like pine or cedar or dust bedding. If you want some wood shavings as bedding, then Aspen is a safe brand. And paper-based bedding is good too. Also make sure that it's not that stupid fluff that some pet stores sell, because your hamster's limbs can get caught in it and it will wrap around their limb and they won't be able to get it off. So what they end up doing is chewing off their whole limb because they're stressed out about a piece of cotton on it. So just make sure that you don't get that. Exercise wheel, make sure that it's not barred or mesh and that it's the proper size for your hamster. If you have a Syrian hamster, then it should be 8 inches taller or more. But if you have a dwarf hamster, then at least 6 inches or more. And then hide, make sure it's big enough. Nesting material. You don't need nesting material because your hamster just makes their nests out of their bedding. But you could add Timothy hay into the bedding. It helps with strong burrows, and sometimes they collect it to make nests. That's what my hamster Monkey does. So treats and wood chew. So that is the end of this little pamphlet, and it sucks. So it's trash. Anyways guys, I hope you enjoyed this video and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!